Hi guys, this is Phoenix Rain, and I'm feeling a little under the weather, but I'm not gonna let that stop me from making my first video. So welcome to the female perspective, and my special guest today is the Archangel Nexus. Say hi.
What's going on, guys?
And today we're gonna be talking about some TV shows, considering summer is almost over and the new fall lineup is coming up. You guys are wondering what shows are going to be coming back and which ones aren't, so we're going to give you the scoop on that. So I'm going to name some shows and you're going to tell me what you think about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna totally shit on whatever it is you're gonna be talking about.
Okay, so let's start right now with shows that were on Fox 5.
Here we go. This is gonna be very depressing.
Now, this was a disappointment to me personally, but after 3 seasons, Lie to Me has been canceled.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me, man. Like, why the fuck would you cancel Dr. Lightman? Dr. Lightman was the man. He was like, the liar house. What's up with that shit?
Well, the ratings were just too up and down, back and forth. Like, the fans, they like one season and then they stop watching, and then they start watching and then they stop watching, and the executive producers just decided the ratings weren't stable enough for them to renew it for another season.
I think that's probably one of the very few TV shows that could actually be adapted into a movie, because he's got enough psychological know-how that they could actually base like 2 hours around him, and he's a great actor as it is. So that's a very big disappointment. I'm not surprised at all.
I'm disappointed. I'm surprised.
You're definitely, like, you were tight with that show?
Yes.
So sad.
Okay, moving on. House will be renewed. However, this will be his last season.
Oh.
Not because it's getting canceled, but because his contract is up, and we're hearing stories about them gonna continuing House without House. I personally wouldn't watch it.
Oh, man.
Knowing that his contract is over and he's gonna go do his music career and not do another season of House is kind of disappointing. Doing another season of House without House is like
House.
It's like making a Batman movie without Batman. You can't do things like that.
There is only one way they can get away with doing that, and that's if they do an entire memorial. Let's say he passes away in the last episode, and they base the rest of the series on his memory, honoring him or whatever, and just recollecting about different shit that he did as a doctor, or maybe they can base the whole series or season later on about, like, his origin or some shit like that, where pretty much he only has to make a cameo on the show to do, like, flashbacks and shit like that, where he doesn't have to be so dedicated. That's the only way that they can have him not on the show but on the show.
But I can't even hate on that, considering that the Saw franchise did it. I mean, Jigsaw's no longer in the movies, but it's still going.
Yeah, I think they got a solid enough villain if they did decide to come back that he could actually pull it off. I mean, the guy was the first. He was in the first one, so there's no reason why they can't continue.
Okay, and now for shows on NBC. Law and Order LA.
Law and Order
Horrible, horrible disappointment. I was so hyped when I heard about Law and Order LA, and it was just not what I expected at all. So after 15 episodes, say goodbye to Law and Order LA.
The thing is with that show is that it doesn't really surprise me, considering that, like, it didn't really feel like Law and Order the whole time. They didn't have the theme song for the show. They didn't have the intro for the show. They kind of had like a remix version going, but I don't know. I think they tried to capture too much the LA feel, and they didn't do enough to, pay homage to the Law and Order feel of the show. And I mean, they had a solid enough main character, but killing him off the show.
I mean, to me it was different. I felt that it was pretty much Law and Order. I just didn't feel like it was that much LA. You want to talk about LAPD? There's a lot of LAPD shows out there that were not as cheesy.
Yeah.
Come on, it's LA. You know, they're known for being corrupt and dirty, and it's a crazy city. They didn't show any of that. They just had regular ass crimes. For that, it could have just been Law and Order freaking Florida.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, The Cape. Not surprising.
Oh my god.
After 9 episodes, you know, NBC was trying to hold on to their superheroes because, you know, they canceled Heroes after all. But The Cape was just not the way to do it.
I really didn't like The Cape. I thought it was kind of like the Mantis, and that it's really cheap. It's cheesy.
It was low budget.
Yeah, it was way too low budget, man. I mean, I don't even know where the hell to put my finger on the first problem that I had. All I know is, if you're gonna bother giving up heroes, why come out with another superhero show? If, you know...
An attempted superhero.
Yeah.
I can't even call him a superhero.
He basically had a freaking whip, man. I mean, you know, only Castlevania could pull the whip off real good, or, you know, Soul Calibur could pull the whip off real good, but his cape was just a freaking whip. And he was a magician, no powers.
And there's no way that storyline could have went any further than 1 season anyway. It was weak to begin with.
He had a weak story. It wasn't a whole lot of... I can't say that there was bad acting going on that show, like out of control bad acting, because the actors that are on the show were not horrible. I think this show failed because of the writing and the directing and the budget. I think those 3 things are the reason why it failed. If you put that show in the hands of somebody that has the money and the means and the know-how, they could have pulled that idea off. Because, come on, Batman has no powers, and as soon as they put him in the right hands, boom, he became top dog again. So
when I first read about this show, I was excited to see it. I was in need of a good superhero show. It just didn't cut it for me.
Yeah.
It was more exciting on paper than it was to watch. Undercovers. Now, I can honestly tell you right now, I have never even seen an episode of Undercovers. I saw the trailer, and if I remember correctly, just from watching the trailer, you already called it that show was not gonna make it, and it didn't.
Yeah, like as soon as I saw the trailer, I was like, no, this isn't gonna work. This isn't gonna work. It's like, with Burn Notice out, how would Undercovers have possibly survived? You want to do spies, and then you want to do a couple. That sounds to me like you're trying to cash in on a gimmick, and you thought that, okay, let's bring in the male and female audience in the same place. But you just can't do it, man. It was never going to work. I called it from the beginning. That motherfucker needs to get back to Cloverfield, man. Why the fuck was he out doing fucking Undercovers?
Are you listening, J.J. Abrams? Please, please, please get back to Cloverfield too.
Dude, get your ass back to New York City and finish that damn movie. For real.
Now, Undercovers, after only 11 episodes, was canceled due to low ratings. There was 2 episodes that were never aired. The future of those episodes is unknown. They don't know what they want to do with those.
I know what the future of those episodes are. Landfill! Take that! Take that! Take that! Landfill. You're gonna be buried with E.T. in Mexico, motherfucker, right under Area 61. 51. Whoops. I got added 10 more digits. Fuck is my problem?
Okay.
It's a damn Snapple.
Speaking of superheroes, now this one, I am saddened to report that No Ordinary Family is not coming back.
Oh, man. The Incredibles TV show is canceled. I mean, I can't say that I was surprised because these shows all came out during the time where they were trying to fill gaps that were left behind by shows of the same nature.
ABC was trying to fill in the gap that was left by Lost. And I can say that I was a viewer every week
I'm
of
not gonna
No
say,
Ordinary Family.
Yeah, like, I'm not saying it's a bad show. It was a good show, but I could see it coming only because that's just how they were rolling at the time. They were just bringing out shows to desperately fill a void, and they got canceled, you know, and because the people they were trying to, the fans that they were trying to appease just wasn't into that kind of shit, and they're never going to be into that kind of shit. You can't replace Lost. The only thing you can do is try, fail, and hope the magic comes again with a different show.
They also got a lot of bad reviews from critics talking about how they're like a bootleg Incredibles or stuff like that. But if you really look at it, the guys that worked on this show, they work from Pixar. They worked on Incredibles. And it's not a bootleg Fantastic Four or Incredibles or anything. It wasn't a bootleg anything. They were their own show. And it's sad that, not enough people gave them the support that they needed to come back for a second season. After 20 episodes, the show's been canceled. Not to mention, Mr. Shield, he totally scored a new show already.
Really?
So he's not too hurt financially by the cancellation of this show.
Well, I mean, again, I'm really not surprised, but at the same time, it's kind of a shame. But these days, they should seriously, go back to making shows miniseries, and then if they fail, at least you get an ending. And if they don't fail, then, figure out a different story to write that's stronger than the first one. That's what I don't understand. Writers these days, they're really scared to end their stories, to the point where they want something to drag when it really doesn't have to.
Now, I personally am a humongous Law & Order fan. Specifically Law & Order SVU. And don't get ahead of yourselves. I am not reporting that SVU has been canceled. They have not. But for you Christopher Maloney fans out there, also known as Detective Stabler, Elliot will not be returning to the series.
Here's where they're gonna go wrong.
They've been on for 15 years, and the man finally decides that he wants to leave the show.
All right, not to say that Ice-T's not a strong replacement, but I mean, let's get real, man. The magic of that show was the ensemble of characters they had and actors they had, and I really don't see them continuing without him. I think they're gonna try again for one more season. It's not gonna be as strong, and they're gonna fail unless they pull some crazy actor out of their ass, like fucking Brad Pitt decides, I want to do TV shows now. Like some crazy shit like that has to happen in order for them to have a strong, series after that point.
Also, for you Mariska fans, Detective Olivia Benson, she will only be doing 13 episodes out of the following season that's coming up.
So they're losing two characters off the show.
Two of their main characters, yes. So, will I still support Law & Order SVU? Yes, I will. After 15 years,
you'll try.
I will give them ratings, because you're watching for the chemistry of the characters, but it's also about the craziness of the crimes that they find. Come on, it's New York.
Yeah. And
it's SVU. They get all types of crazy shit. So hopefully the level of craziness of the crimes and their technology, that you can see it, that they're upgrading from previous seasons. Now they have touch screens and computers, and they're using technology to find these criminals in crazy ways, and it's just interesting. Doesn't really matter which detective does it. I'm just a cop fan, period.
Yeah,
love
but
cop shows.
If they let's say replace it with two idiots, then that's not gonna really work out too good on that part.
Let me not make empty promises. I will try to continue to watch Law & Order SVU. Law & Order Criminal Intent, after 10 seasons, will not be returning. Not because of low ratings or anything. It's just they decided that the show has run its course and they want to end it. Well, guys, that's all the time I have for today. But we will continue this conversation because there's some shows that we haven't got to talk about yet. So, for now, I'm Phoenix Rain.
And I'm the fucking Predator Archangel Nexus.
And thanks for watching my first female perspective.
Kick ass.